Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Bolo. I'm going to request Ishan to come and sit next to me, please, with a harmonium. Carry on with the mridanga. Last night we had a, let's say, come right sit next to me. A condensed presentation on Haridas Thakur. And tonight we're, Krishna willing, Prabhupada willing, we'll have a very condensed presentation on this one. I've already sliced it in half before coming here, but it's still, we won't get anywhere near the end of it. So tonight, the title of tonight's program, I believe, is Mission Impossible. Is that right? Impossible is a word in a fool's dictionary, Prabhupada said. So if you think it's impossible to spread Krishna consciousness, that means you are a fool. Right? Means we're fools. Well, maybe we are fools, but at least let's follow somebody who is not a fool. Somebody who knows the truth. So this evening we're going to start, as I say, very condensed. There's no time to get into introduction. It's about, more or less, as you may have seen, the 50th anniversary of ISKCON's incorporation. But it's probably a little bit more than just that. Let us see. We're going to start off with a song. And, let me see, I'm going to have to hook this up. I'm going to pull this here. There we go. This is a song which was compiled by a very dear devotee and godbrother of mine, and some of you maybe. His name is Dravida Prabhu, and he travels, but mostly he's based in San Diego. And perhaps he's been here, I don't know, maybe you've heard it before. I've only sung this a few times, so you have to bear with me until we get into tune, if we do get into tune, otherwise we'll move along. But we're going to try to sing this song now to get into the mood of Srila Prabhupada and what a great gift he has given to the world. Nobody can imagine what a great gift it was. Because the time is short, I'll just tell you a little analogy, or a little story, a true story from London. In the early 90s, when the government, local government, was trying to prohibit the worship at the Bhaktivedanta Manor in London, it was a very big issue, which became national. It came to the Parliament, it came to the Prime Minister, it came to the Queen. They were all involved in the decision. And the Queen sent her council. Queen's council is like her representative in the Parliament to represent her in the Parliament for this case. And he studied a little bit about Prabhupada before he made any kind of presentation. He read the Prabhupada Lilamrita, at least the shortened version, at least, maybe the whole, I don't know, but at least the shortened version. And when Shivaram Swami came to see him to discuss the case before it came to the final decision in Parliament, this man, he was in his 70s, he was a meat eater, a smoker, a drinker probably too, certainly wasn't practicing devotee. But he said to Shivaram Swami, he said, "You do not know what a great thing your spiritual teacher has done." Shivaram Swami was a little perplexed as to how to reply, because naturally he knew. I mean, which devotee doesn't know what a great thing Prabhupada has done? You have to be pretty spaced out not to know something about that. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So he said to Sriram, "You cannot know. You cannot know why I say that." Well, that's pretty challenge. And he said, "I'll tell you why, because you are still a young man in your 40s. I am in my 70s, he said. I know what it's like when you're in your 70s. For someone to do what he did in his 70s, he said, is impossible. It is impossible. He is not an ordinary person, he said. He could recognize the greatness of Srila Prabhupada just by that alone. It is not possible. Leaving India at the age of 70, having heart attacks on the boat with no money. Well, of course, he had the grand total of 40 rupees in his pocket, which is not even $1 nowadays, I don't think. And he had no contact in India supporting him. In America, he had a very loose contact who didn't even really want him to come. They were shocked when they heard he was coming. And he had no other contacts in America. Is everyone okay back there? There's a bit of chit-chat going on. Who would do that at that age? Nobody comes to America for any reason nowadays. Maybe for preaching, one or two are coming now, of course. But otherwise, why do people go from India to America? Who comes? A few people living on Prabhupada's ticket, that's all. Otherwise, nobody would come. Everyone comes here for money, for education, for a green card, for sightseeing. That's all people come for. They have no idea what their duty is. Indians have forgotten who they are. They're in gross ignorance in general and are missing the whole purpose of their existence by thinking their existence is to make material success. It's an insult. It's a disgrace to the country, and it's the shame for the world. The greatest gift is on your doorstep, on your fingertips, and we're going to the garbage dump and licking up garbage in the name of modern education, modern materialism, etc., which condemns people to an eternal life of suffering, basically. The only purpose as given by Lord Chaitanya, Bharata Bhumite Hoila Manushya Janmajara, Janma Sartika Kara Kara Para Upakara, of those born of Indian families, is to become Krishna conscious and to give it to everyone all over the world. Piti Viti Achiati Nagaradi Gram, Sarvatra Pachora Hoibe Moranam. But nobody is doing it hardly other than Prabhupada and whoever has been inspired by him. Even the Gaudiya Math, totally impotent practically, none of them would have come to the West if it wasn't for Prabhupada. And even if they came, they would have been totally bewildered. Prabhupada did everything. He set the scene, he set up the world, he set the congregations, the temples, the restaurants, the farms, the devotees, the money, everything. Otherwise you go there and you have to grovel in the street for your pennies and your bread and butter, trying to spread Krishna. Prabhupada did that when he came to America. He didn't grovel in the street. He was in the street preaching Krishna consciousness, an instrument of the Lord. He showed the way, and if you really want to get the greatest mercy, the greatest pleasure, and utilize this human life, this human life is not meant for sense gratification at all. It is meant for inquiry into the absolute truth. That should be the goal of our works. And that is where success lies. That's what education should be aimed at. Otherwise, it's a hollow, empty vacuum. It has no value even if you have all this knowledge. You're still going to die, and God knows what will happen. And suffering increases more and more. The more we have material knowledge, the more the suffering increases. It doesn't go down at all. It's a fallacy. More anxiety, more stress, more suffering. What is the use of such direction? So Prabhupada is the only one practically who given this clear direction. Everything else is just like, puff on the boil. You got a boil. Try to puff on it. Ease the pain. But the boil is still there. The problem still remains. Prabhupada has come to cut the problem out at the root. Not just on the surface, just a Band-Aid, a bit of painkiller, Forget about it, just enjoy another beer, another cigarette, another this and another that. We call it decaffeinated coffee. It's still coffee. Oh no. Electric cigarette. Oh, I'm not smoking now. Near beer. It's a joke. means we're still totally attached to beer, cigarettes, coffee, and so on, stuck in the material world. If we really want to make advancement in Krishna consciousness, we've got to think about these things. We all got our attachments. He said, but Prabhupada didn't come in so heavily, but he came in with that intention, to change the consciousness of the world. And it's our duty and our opportunity to be a part of that. So we're going to go into it now. Have I got my glasses on? I can't see. Yeah, we have. Okay, this book stand is not much use to me. Oh, what am I doing? What have I done? There we go. You have to excuse me, I'm pretty useless with these things. Everyone knows who the Srila Prabhupada, our founder, Acharya of ISKCON. So we're going to start, we hope. I don't know what's going on. Oh, there we go. I haven't got the computer, so I can't see without glancing up. We're going to sing this song. It's called Srila Prabhupada Kripashtakam, 8 songs, 8 verses about the mercy of Srila Prabhupada is bestowed upon the world. So I need someone to play cartels who can play them well. Come near me. Who's a good cartel player, please? Come and sit here. I'll give you half a second to get up and come. Quick, come on, somebody, Jananda. We haven't got time. Sorry, everybody. I'm running late. Maybe sit over here. Sit over this side if you can, so I can come over here, Jananda. Sit down here, so we can kind of get the feeling. We'll try, okay? It's beautiful. I'm just going to sing the four first lines of each verse. If you want to follow on, you're most welcome. But the last line we'll repeat together, okay? I'll sing it, then you all repeat. Trapped within samsaras. What happened? We're really in samsara here. I've completely lost. Hey, where's our technician? Huh? What's he doing? Come on, mate. What's happening here? Hey, I've got it on my sheet, so we can see. What's happening, boss? Huh? Is it back? Where are we now? We've gone backwards. Here we go. Okay, there we go, gentlemen, ladies. Are you all ready? Trapped within samsaras or devouring blazing fire, we had no hope of rescue till by Krishna's strong desire. Bump, bump, bump. Come on, beat that drum. No, we're not going to repeat this. You boldly sailed across the sea to spread his holy name and teach the truths of bhakti. So feet I bow. Next one. Patiently you taught us how to chant the holy name, and how to dance and how to sing, and what was life's true aim. Okay. Go Premalandi! And thus you gave us Lord Chaitanya's teachings unalloyed, and saved us from the all-devouring Mayavadi void. O Prabhupada, your mercy is my only treasure now. Unto your soothing lotus feet I bow. Bolo. O Prabhupada, your mercy is my only treasure now. Unto your soothing lotus feet I bow. When Krishna Bhakti spread and you had centers here and there, you introduced the worship of the deities so fair. And soon throughout the world their lordship smiled upon your crew, and nourished strong devotion to themselves and unto you. O Prabhupada, your mercy, my only treasure now. Unto your soothing lotus feet I bow. This is a good one. Prasadam was your special weapon. No one could resist. Once the Sunday feast had started, no one could desist. Halava, sweet rice, crips, pakoras, sabji, puris, rice. With these and other preps you did our tongues and hearts entice. O Prabhupada, your mercy, my only treasure now. Unto your soothing lotus feet I bow. The books you showered down upon the masses and on us taught Scripture's sacred essence, bhakti pure and nectarous. And while you wrote and lecture relish Shri Krishna's name, Shri Radha Krishna's name, and form and pastimes, qualities and everlasting fame. O Prabhupada, your mercy is my only treasure now. Unto your soothing lotus feet I bow. Bolo! All together. Louder. You can do better than that. We want the mercy of Prabhupada. Come on. While managing your ISKCON with the whole world as your stage, meeting, preaching, traveling like a man of half your age, you serve their lordship Shri Radha Krishna in your heart, arranging for their pastimes in Vrindavan's sacred part. O Prabhupada, your mercy is my only treasure now. Unto your soothing lotus feet I bow. Bolo! Louder! The Guru is as good as God, you said, and some were shocked. But you had simply quoted Scripture you did not concoct. And sure enough, for those who worship you as they would God, the path of bhakti opens wide and joyfully is trod. O Prabhupada, your mercy is only treasure now. Unto your soothing lotus feet I bow. Bolo! O Prabhupada, your mercy is my only treasure now. Unto your soothing lotus feet I bow. If you bestow your mercy, then Shri Krishna gives his too. But if your mercy is lacking, then there's nothing we can do. So every day we should reflect upon your life sublime, and vow to serve you always with our body, mind, words and mind. Prabhupada, your mercy is my treasure now. Unto your soothing lotus feet I bow. O Prabhupada, your mercy is my only treasure now. Unto your soothing lotus feet I bow. Next one. I pray that my small hymnal, lacking literary worth, presented here in, what's this place called? Huh? Where? What's it called? Gainesville, something, was it? Presented here in Gainesville? No, Gaines what? What's the name of this village? Plainfield. I pray that my small hymn, though for lacking literary worth, presented here in Plainfield, the most sacred place on earth. I don't know about that, but anyway. Presented here in Plainsfield, the most sacred place on earth, may find some favor both with you and with your devotees, who hover around your lovely lotus feet like maddened bees. O Prabhupada, bestow your mercy now. Unto your soothing lotus feet I bow. All together, O Prabhupada, I pray that you bestow your mercy now. Unto your soothing lotus feet I bow. Unto your soothing lotus feet I bow. Unto your soothing lotus feet I bow. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Go back. Prabhupada. Go Premanande! Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. That's not the end of the presentation. Not quite. Although it could be. I think that's good enough. I think more or less everything's there. Fantastic. Well done, everyone. Thank you for that. It's so wonderful to enter into the spirit of, it's just a little light-hearted, but it's amazing. It's wonderful to enter into the understanding and relishing Srila Prabhupada's mercy from every direction we can think of. So we haven't got time for the rest of that one. So now I'm going to go onto the screen. Okay, next. I can take that back now. Thanks. Thank you, Jan. And you're going to be needed again in a few minutes. Don't worry. Don't run away yet. Oh, yeah, hide there. You don't want to be in the front page. As you all may not know, but you may know, Prabhupada traveled from Calcutta. He left on Friday, August the 13th, 1965, on board this ship, the Jaladuta, which means, literally, the messenger of the ocean. What a nice name for a boat to take the most important person on the planet to America. Perhaps the most important person for God knows how long, and probably for the next 10,000 years, at least, or longer, to the end of Kali Yuga in one sense. So Srila Prabhupada came on this boat alone. He was armed with 200 sets of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, with 600 pamphlets, India's message of goodwill to the world. And that was a little brochure with a Sikshastikam and a little advertisement for this Srimad Bhagavatam. Other than that, he was alone on the boat. Nice Captain Pandya was there, of course, but vegetarian food was brought on board. And he sailed on the journey. He had 2 heart attacks in the Arabian Sea. And eventually, he wrote one poem, which we won't have time for, in the Atlantic Ocean, Prayers to the Lotus Feet of the Lord, a beautiful poem, which we'd love to sing, but no time allows. And then on September the 17th, the boat docked into Boston Harbor on the 17th of September 1965. On the 18th of September 1960, Prabhupada had a walk around the streets of Boston with the captain, a little bit of a walk. He got his immigration thing, cleared everything. 3 months visa, I think he got, something like that. And next morning, the significant thing was on September the 18th. And this is a view from the Commonwealth Pier, by the way, of Boston skyline. We haven't got much time, but this is just a view of the city. So Prabhupada, maybe it wasn't quite like that when Prabhupada arrived, but something like that, which he saw, this city of Boston. First time on American soil, and he wrote this poem, which is called Markandeya Bhagavat Dharma. So you can come back round again now, or you can stay where you are and press the buttons, but make sure you're online. Now, I may have it here. If I have, it's easier for me. Otherwise, it really is difficult to play cartels, stretch my head at an angle, and sing all at the same time, but I don't think I have it here. So I'm going to turn around because it's too much for me to sit this way and watch the screen at the same time. So this is a beautiful poem. It means preaching Krishna consciousness in America. It was written in the morning of September the 18th. The boat set sail in the evening of the 18th for New York, and it docked into New York on the 19th of September. So Prabhupada then left on the evening of the 19th of September on that bus from Port Authority Terminal, and he came very close to here on the New Jersey Turnpike on board a Greyhound bus towards Pittsburgh. But before he left Boston, in the morning of the 18th, he wrote this. Perhaps I see it as the most important document, in a sense, in our movement. Of course, we have the books, the Bhagavatam, etc. But this summarizes Srila Prabhupada's mood as soon as he arrived in America. And it is like a mission statement, because the foundation of any success is not just the technique, it's not just the rules and regulations, but it's the attitude, the mood, the consciousness in which we work. And this poem is really about the consciousness if one wants to be successful in one's spiritual endeavors. Is the most, to me, has been perhaps one of the most uplifting meditations of my life, when I started to try to get into the mood of this poem and sing this poem on and off here and there last year especially. But it's extremely purifying and enthusing, and what can we say? It just creates all the necessary ingredients that we need to get out of Maya and to start becoming a devotee. So please enter into the mood of this if you can. The translation may or may not come up later because of time. I hope it does. Okay, try to follow the tune if you can, please. The singers, don't just sing any old thing. Paro Kripa Kaile Krishna Adame Prati Paro Kripa Kaile Krishna Adamer Prati. I may have to go down a little bit, Ishan. I may have to go down a bit. Start a bit higher there. Kilagiani leta koro e begati. Kilagiani leta koro e begati. Ache kisho Kajatava E Hanumane Icho Kajatava E Hanumane. Try to get the last little turn on the last letter of each line. You're jumping in too quickly. Nae no ani bene Augustane ani bene Augustane Rajastamo Gunera Sabai Achana Rajastama Gunera Sabai Achana Vasudev Katarchi Nahe se prasana Vasudev Kataruchi Nahe se prasana Tabi jadi tabakripa Hoy hoy tuki Tabe jadi tabakripa Hoy hoy tuki Sakale sambhava hoy Tumi se tuki Sakale sambhava hoy Tumi se kotuki. I'm speeding up because we haven't got enough time. Kiba vebu jale tara Burji se asa Kiba vebu jale tara Mujhe se rasa Eta kripa koro Prabhu Korini javasha Eta kripa koro Prabhu Korini javasha Tomara ichaya sabha Aya maya kosha Tomara jaya sabha Aya maya vasha Toma chaya nasha Maya parasha Tomara chaya nasha Maya parasha Taba ichaya jadi Tadera uda Taba ichaya jadi Tadera uda nishchay ave kata se tomar. Tive nishchay ave kata se tomar. Bhagavate kata se tava avatar. Bhagavate kata se tava avatar. Tirahaya shune jadi kane barbar. Tirahaya shune jadi Rajastama te tabe Pahibe nishtar Rajastama te tabe Pahibe nishtar Vidaya abadrasate Uchibe tahar Ki kore bujaba kata Baro se chahi Ki kore bujaba kata Bolo Baro se chahi Kudrami dina hina Kono shakti nahi Buddha ami dina hina kono shakti nahi Atacha ene cho prabhu kata bali bare Atacha ene cho prabhu kata bali bare Ye tomar Icha Prabhu Koro Ebare Icha Prabhu Shinvatam Sakata Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtana Vidyam Taksto Yabadrani Vidunoti Suritsatam Sinvatam Sakata Krishna Pull together Punya Shavana Kirtana Vidyantaksto Yabadrani Vidunoti Suritsatam Nashta Prayeshva Badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Nashta Prayeshva Badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Tadarajastamo bhava Kamolo badayaschaye Darajastamo bhava Kamolo badayaschaye Cheteta anavidam Stitang Satve Pasidati Stitang Satve Pasidati Evam Prasana Manaso Bhagavat Bhakti Yogataha Evam Prasana Manaso Bhagavat Bhakti Yogataha Bhagavat Tattva Vijnanam Mukti Ananta Sangasya Jayate. Bolo. Vidyate Dayagantis Chiryante Sabasangshaya. Chiryante Sabasangshaya. Shiyante Chasya Karmani Vishta Evatmanishvare. Go Premanande! Akila Jagat Guru Bachane Situmar Akila Jagat Guru Bachana Seyama Alankita Koriba Kamata Tomar Tabakipa Halemo Kata Shudabe Taba Kripa Halemo Kata Shudabe Shunya Savara Shoka Dukaye Uchibe Shunya Savara Shoka Dukaye Uchibe Hari Asho Jadi Prabhu Hamare Nachate Ani Asho Jadi Prabhu Hamare Nachate Nachayo Nachayo Prabhu Nachayo se mate Nachayo Nachayo Prabhu Nachayo se mate Kashtera Putale Jata Nachayo se mate Ashtera Utali Jata Nachayo Semate Pakinai Vedanai Name Udaro Bhaktinai Vedanai Namo Kudaro Bhakti Vedanta Namebe Satakoro Bhakti Vedanta Namebe Satakoro Bhakti Vedanta Namebe Satakoro Bhakti Vedanta Namebe. Next one, please. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna Bolo Bolo Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. All together. Hare Rama Hare Rama. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Krishna. All together, bolo. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Kimakane Bhagavat Dharma Ki. Keep playing the harmonium. You can be a drone. You can groan and drone and moan. Okay? Don't go home. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Come on, drone. Drone away. Something like that. You can follow you can follow the same tune if you want. You just have to keep going up and down and beat the drum. My dear Lord Krishna, you are so kind upon this useless soul. This is the translation if you don't but know. Just try to enter into the mood of Prabhupada. This is all we have to do. Your life will become sublime. Whatever we're doing, even if we are studying material subjects and working in material jobs, that's okay. This will spiritualize it. This will help to bring everything to the spiritual platform, the mood of Prabhupada. We have to follow in the footsteps. It's not just a machine. We have to follow the mission and mood of Prabhupada. Not just the things he did, but the mood in which he lived. My dear Lord Krishna, you were so kind upon this useless soul, but I do not know why you have brought me here. Now you can do whatever you like with me, but I guess you have some business here. Otherwise, why would you bring me to this terrible place? Most of the population here is covered. By the way, that terrible place is New York. Can you put the mic up a little bit? I have to put my head up in the air and the mic's gone down. Most of the population here is covered by the material modes of ignorance and passion. Absorbed in material life, they think themselves very happy and satisfied. And therefore they have no taste for the transcendental message of Vasudeva. I do not know how they will be able to understand it, but I know that your causeless mercy can make everything possible, because you are the most expert mystic. How will they understand the mellows of devotional service? O Lord, I'm simply praying for your mercy so that I will be able to convince them about your message. I think we've missed a page. There's 2 or 3 pages missing here. Anyway, what to do? We just carry on. All living entities have come under the control of the illusory energy by your will. And therefore, if you like, by your will, they can also be released from the clutches of illusion. That means to say that the soul, we have will, free will. For we cannot fulfill our free will without Krishna's will. If he doesn't give it to us, we can't get it. Either coming into this world or getting out of it. It depends entirely on his mercy. We can desire as much as we like, but without his desire, we can get nowhere. It's like a child may desire something, but without the parent, can do nothing. We're completely depending on Krishna. To get in this world, we desire to come here, and if we want to get out of it, we pray for his mercy, because that's the only way. I wish, Prabhupada says, I wish that you may deliver them. And that's the secret. Therefore, if you so desire their deliverance, then only will they be able to understand your message. And that's the means of deliverance, that we understand this message. It's not just repeating it, it's living it, realizing it. This is not an ordinary religious activity to make life happy in this world. To hell with that. We're not interested in making life happy in this world, maybe for some time. Our interest is to get out of this world forevermore. Not liberation, but to establish ourselves in our eternal position as the servants of Krishna. Living our lives for his pleasure, not ours. Sometimes we say, I want to go back to Godhead, I want to be happy. Okay, in the beginning, and that's fine. But the actual devotion means Krishna's happy. That's what it means. Most people think, oh, for my happiness, I'm going to do this. I will enjoy in heaven. The words of Srimad Bhagavatam are your incarnation. And if a sober person repeatedly receives it with submissive oral reception, then he will be able to understand your message, oral reception. He will become liberated from the influence of the modes of ignorance and passion, and thus all inauspicious things accumulated in the core of the heart will disappear. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam, and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. As soon as irrevocable loving service is established in the heart, the effects of nature's modes of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankering, disappear from the heart. Then the devotee is established in goodness, and he becomes completely happy. Thus established in the mode of unalloyed goodness, the man whose mind has been enlivened by contact with devotional service to the Lord gains positive scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association. Thus the knot in the heart is pierced, and all misgivings are cut to pieces. The chain of fruitive actions is terminated when one sees the self as master. At the moment we're all controlled by our bodies. The soul is supposed to be the master of the mind and body, not the servant of them. Prabhupada carries on. How will I make them understand this message of Krishna consciousness? I am very unfortunate, unqualified, and the most fallen. Therefore I am seeking your benediction so that I can convince them, for I am powerless to do so on my own. Somehow or another, O Lord, you have brought me here to speak about you. Now, my Lord, it is up to you to make me a success or a failure as you like. O spiritual master of all the worlds, I can simply repeat your message. So if you like, you can make my power of speaking suitable for their understanding. Only by your causeless mercy will my words become pure. I'm sure that when this transcendental message penetrates their hearts, they will certainly feel gladdened and thus become liberated from all unhappy conditions of life. O Lord, I am just like a puppet in your hands. So if you have brought me here to dance, then make me dance. Make me dance, O Lord. Make me dance as you like. I have no devotion, nor do I have any knowledge, but I have strong faith in the holy name of Krishna. I have been designated as Bhaktivedanta. And now, if you like, you can fulfill the real purport of Bhaktivedanta. Signed, the most unfortunate, insignificant beggar, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, on board the ship Jaladuta, Commonwealth Pier, Boston, Massachusetts, USA, 18th of September, 1965. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Srila Prabhupada ki. That's Prabhupada walking on the Commonwealth Pier a few years later, maybe 67 or 8, looking out over that harbor where he arrived. Next one. In a lecture in Atlanta, Prabhupada spoke. When I first came, I had no money. So I got a free passage through some Indian steam navigation company. So I came by ship. So when I was on the ship at Boston Port, Commonwealth Port, I was thinking, I have come here. I do not know what is the purpose. Because how the people will accept this movement? They're differently educated. And as soon as I will say, so my dear sir, you have to give up meat eating and illicit sex and no intoxication and gambling, they will say, please go home. So I was thinking that I would propose something which is impossible. Something impossible. Anyway, let me try. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Next one. When Prabhupada arrived in New York on the 19th of September, he was met by a man from the Traveler's Aid who took him to the Scindia Steamship Company to arrange for his return journey and to store the books, the Bhagavatams and so on. And then he took him to the Port Authority bus terminal and he put him on a bus to Pittsburgh, which traveled through the night on New Jersey Turnpike and then off to the right towards Pittsburgh through Pennsylvania, and arrived early in the morning in Pittsburgh, where he was met by Gopal Agarwal. I say this is a real shortened version. We got pictures of this and that, but nothing for this one. Gopal Agarwal was the sponsor, unexpectedly shocked when he heard that Swami was coming. He lived as an ordinary, simple man in a place called Butler, Pennsylvania. Although he was Indian-born, he'd become very westernized. He wasn't following the traditions in any way, practically. His wife, Sally Agarwal, very nice American lady. They lived together in Butler. And when Prabhupada arrived, he picked him up in his Volkswagen van and drove him to their house. Prabhupada took rest in their front room on the sofa, and they thought, this is a bit awkward for us. This is going to be, what will people say of Swami staying with us? No such thing had ever happened in America before, practically. So they arranged for him to stay here at the YMCA in this very building during his 3 or 4 week stay in Butler. Next one. There I have a picture of the room where he stayed in, but anyway, it was shortened version. He stayed in a little tiny room there in that YMCA. He would come daily to cook and to speak in their house. Sally Agrawal put an article in the Pittsburgh Eagle, the Butler Eagle, which explained who the Swami was, so that she didn't have to keep answering everybody what was going on. This is Prabhupada in that house. Bridge, the little boy's name is Bridge. This is his first walking steps, holding the hands of Prabhupada. Prabhupada loved children very much, and he liked that child. He would ask, later on when Prabhupada moved to New York, he'd always ask, how is Bridge? I can't remember the daughter's name. How was the daughter? He had a daughter who used to call Prabhupada Swami Jesus. Swami Jesus, she would call him. And Prabhupada would always ask, how are they? Are they in good health? Are they growing up? This, that, the other. He was always thinking of those children. And he was very, very interested in Sally Agrawal's spiritual life. He'd write many letters to her saying, I've got a nice service for you if you want to come and join me in New York. I've been thinking of opening a restaurant, and you'd be the ideal person to manage the restaurant, and you'll make good money, and so on. He was really encouraging her when he was in New York. Next one. And there's Prabhupada cooking. He used to cook himself, cook for everyone around him. What can you say? Just the most amazing prasadam in the universe. And then after about 3 weeks in Butler, he did some programs there. He left Butler. He went through some college, I've forgotten the name of some college in Pennsylvania. Then he went to Philadelphia. And then from Philadelphia, he came back to New York. And first of all, he actually went to some special program, some fair in New York. And he met Ravi Shankar there, actually. And then from there, Dr. Mishra, who was a yoga teacher in New York, an Indian man, he took into his apartment. This is 33 Riverside Drive in New York. We were there last Sunday. Last Sunday was the 50th anniversary of the first Harinam in Tompkins Square Park, the most memorable occasion, October the 9th, 1966. But in September 1965, Prabhupada came here on the 20th of September, and he stayed here. I'm not sure which floor it was, like the 5th or 10th, somewhere up there. He stayed up there in this building in Dr. Mishra's yoga, or is it rather in his apartment at that time, for some time. Next one. And then he moved here. This is 100 West 72nd Street. And he stayed here on the 5th floor. You count up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. No, down 1. This is America. That's it, that floor. That was Dr. Mishra's studio, yoga studio. And he had a little kind of like little room at the back. And Prabhupada stayed in the room at the back for quite some time. Now, whilst he was there, many things happened, but one thing was, I was amazed. There's a book, and one of the things is you'll find some differences between this presentation and the Prabhupada Leela Amrita, because when the Prabhupada Leela was compiled, they didn't have this diary. There was a special diary which Prabhupada personally wrote, and it wasn't available. It only came available some few years ago. It was kept secret by one devotee who Prabhupada gave it to when he was in New York. And the devotee only revealed it to the world a few years back. It's called what is now called The Beginning. It wasn't called The Beginning. It was Prabhupada's diary whilst he was in New York, not on the Jaladuta, while he was actually living in New York. And he was telling what was going on day by day by day by day. How much he spent, who he wrote a letter to, what letters he got, who came to see him, how many people came, how much the donations were, where he was staying, everything. We called a bus uptown, downtown, this one, that one. He writes so many things in that diary. It's absolutely amazing. It's just like you feel like you're with Prabhupada. So he stayed on the 5th floor there for quite some time. In fact, he was still there in February when the in the diary, and then in February. Actually, I've got it here. Where is it now? Let me see. I quickly scribbled down the dates because I didn't have them before. Are we there? So he stayed in that. That was Dr. Mishra. Dr. Mishra, though, Mayavadi, he really helped Prabhupada a lot. Prabhupada would go up to Dr. Mishra's Jananda ashram regularly, too, whilst he was living in 100 West 72nd Street. Once or twice a week, practically, he'd go up to this country ashram, not too far from Towako. Monroe. It's maybe half an hour north of Towako. And he stayed there for quite some time. On the 10th of February, he moved to the 3rd floor. He moved from room 501 to room 307. They moved this floor. And that's where his little tiny office was. He moved there on February the 10th to his little tiny office room. It had nothing in it. Empty room, window, little sink, and that was it, of that bass. It was just a little office room. Can you imagine? He stayed in that tiny little office room for several months. And a few things happened. Let's go to the next one. And this is interesting. Whilst he was staying there, on February the 23rd, he was holding classes there 3 times a week. And some people were coming, mostly for Dr. Mishra. One boy named Harvey Cohen was coming. He was really very, very helpful. Another Bill Epstein, David Nelson. A few people were coming round. Robert Nelson, excuse me. They were coming round, and they were helping Prabhupada a little bit. A few of the students from Dr. Mishra's ashram. They were giving him little donations, a few gifts like a typewriter and tape recorders, things like that. They were giving. And Prabhupada was holding his classes, and he had this idea, of course, from India, to form a society in America. I'm going to backtrack. In November, when he wrote to Saliagwal, I didn't know this before until I read it yesterday or today, I can't remember. But I was reading the diary, and I was reading the letters, Prabhupada's letters, not the diary. I was reading the letters of Prabhupada to Saliagwal. And he wrote to Saliagwal, and he said that, can you please send me 40, this is in November 65. He said, can you please send me $40? Prabhupada didn't have any money at all. Can you please, I don't want to stay here any longer, he said. I want to go, I've heard the West Coast is very nice. I want to go to the West Coast. And he said, if this doesn't work out, I'm going back to India. But I can't stay here any longer, he said. He was actually thinking like that. That's what he wrote in the letter. He didn't go. He stayed in New York. What happened after that, I don't know. I guess she didn't send him the $40. But he stayed in New York. And but he was thinking to go. He said in several letters he indicated he was going to leave. He said the books were not getting sold. He had nowhere proper to stay. He couldn't speak properly. Dr. Mishra wouldn't let him speak. And he would be arguing with Prabhupada. And he didn't see. What could he do? But he soldiered on. He stayed on. And when he got his little place here in room 307 in this 100 West 72nd Street, then he had his own little room for the first time. He could start speaking at last. And especially Harvey Cohen, he was paying basically the cost of the rent. We had to pay, I think, $75 a month or something. I don't know what it was, something like that. He was paying the rent for that little room. So Prabhupada there started, and he said here, ladies and gentlemen, I beg to inform you that the classes which I am holding now, Prabhupada wrote this, actually, it's a little mail out or something he put out there, may be called the initiation classes for developing the International Institution for God Consciousness. That's interesting, isn't it? IIGC. Not the GBC, the IIGC. International Institution for, Prabhupada called it that. And that's they basically called it, the International Institution for God Consciousness. And we never heard that, most of us. But that's what he called it then. There's no society, there was nothing, but he was formulating the ideas. Okay, move on. Move on. He was walk alone in the streets. This is not exactly from them, but this is a picture of Prabhupada walking alone in the streets of New York. No one. He just looking around, watching, going here. He would go downtown on the bus just to see what the city looked like. Sometimes he'd visit someone downtown. Harvey Cohen, he was downtown. He had an apartment in the Bowery. He would go and see it sometimes. And that's where Prabhupada moved into. He moved into Harvey Cohen's apartment, his loft apartment. Next one. So this is March the 6th. He's still in that little room in 72nd Street. And Prabhupada writes, March the 6th. Just imagine he's on his own. According to the Mayapur Panjika, that's the calendar, the Vaishnava calendar, today is Adivas Day of Gopunim, the day before Gopunim. Devotees at Vrindavan and Navadvip are enjoying the celebration. I am here alone without any devotee companion. But I have come here to serve the Lord and not for personal happiness. I am prepared to live in hell even if I am able to serve the Lord. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted that his mission should be propagated all over the world, and that is my objective. I do not mind the inconvenience personally felt. So now Prabhupada was absolutely convinced this was his Guru Maharaj's and Lord Chaitanya's desire. He was willing to live in hell to try to preach this message, even if no one heard. He said, we are willing to preach to the four walls. In Boston, to Pradyumna, Prabhupada said that. Pradyumna said, what if people are not interested in this message, Prabhupada? And Prabhupada said, we're not interested whether people are interested or not. What do we care about the response of a bunch of asses? We're interested whether Krishna hears or not. That was his words. We're not interested in getting the praise of a bunch of asses. We want that Krishna should be pleased. And we are willing to preach the sun and the moon, the stars in the sky, the walls. We will simply preach the glories of Krishna, even if no one hears. So then after a while, in that 307, his room got burgled. He was at Dr. Mishra's house. He would go to Dr. Mishra's house to cook and take bath. Sometimes he would take bath in the subway, in the bath there, but sometimes Dr. Mishra's apartment, he would go there to take bath and cook his meals. He had to walk several blocks. So many, I haven't got time, so many inconveniences with her. Then after that robbery, he then decided that it was not a good time to stay. And he lost his tape recorder, his bag, and his typewriter was stolen. So he decided to move. And let's see, he moved on April the 1st. He moved to this place, the second building on the left, the tallest one, slightly reddish brick building, 94 the Bowery. It's still there. All these places are still there. We went there the other day. We visited the supermarket where Prabhupada did his shopping, and several places where he stayed. So this is one of them, the Bowery, 94, the Bowery. He stayed at the top floor. It's a big open space, which was used by artists. He moved in there with, although it says in the Leela David Allen or something, it says it's not. It's actually Paul Murray. Prabhupada writes his name over and over again in the diary. His name is Paul Murray. He stayed with this young 18-year-old boy named Paul Murray, who was a kind of working. He was working, getting some money, but he was into drugs. He was a bit of a musician, this, that, the other, young kid. And Prabhupada shared it with this boy who was taking LSD. The boy was taking LSD and marijuana. And that was Harvey Cohen's apartment. Harvey Cohen had been coming to see Prabhupada regularly. He moved to the West Coast at the end of March, and he handed over his apartment to David Allen on the condition that he share it with the Swami. So he moved the Swami in there with Paul Murray, and they stayed together for several months. Prabhupada stayed there in that apartment. And Harvey Cohen went to the West Coast, to San Francisco. And he's the one who started the West Coast preaching. He invited Mukunda over, and then they started the program over there. And Harvey Cohen became the president of the first San Francisco branch. His name was Haridas. He got initiated as Haridas by Srila Prabhupada. Okay, here we are. We're in the Bowery. Prabhupada was in the Bowery. He was having regular meetings. After the meeting one night, Wednesday, there were consultations about the incorporation of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So they already had it in line. Prabhupada already had a basic outline of ISKCON on the 25th of May. He'd already discussed it earlier, actually. But this is when they officially discussed it there and then in the Bowery with whoever happened to be there. Some vaguely interested young men and women. And vague is not the word for it. They were really vaguely interested. But Prabhupada was discussing it there and then. The next day, not the next day, quite a bit later actually, on the 13th of June, $100 was drawn from the bank to give to Mr. Goldsmith. He was the lawyer who was going to handle the incorporation. So they gave him the money, so he started working there and then on the incorporation. On the 17th, Mr. Goldsmith hung a notice on the door, which is customary legal requirement that such and such organization is to be incorporated and what their purpose of this or that is. Anyone has any complaint, so on and so forth. So that was done. And Prabhupada then said, remain for 15 days in terms of law. It's expected that the incorporation will take place sometime after the 6th of July, 1966. Okay, let's see if I got any more nippets here. Okay, it was on the 9th of May that Prabhupada drew up the Memorandum of Association for ISKCON, on the 9th of May. On the 12th, Prabhupada decided he wanted, on the 12th of May, he wanted to form the society called the League of Devotees, not ISKCON, League of Devotees. So many things were going on, and we already had that 25th. It's a bit dark, I can't read what I'm reading here. Anyway, we'll move on. Next one. So there we go. Okay, this is the doorway then. It's a little changed now. But that was the doorway when Prabhupada was staying there. Bowery was called Skid Row, where all the bums used to hang out. Homeless, drunkards mainly, alcoholics. And there were many flop houses along that road, places where they could just crash out at night. And 94, the Bowery wasn't much different. It was like a flop house. Many alcoholics would just sleep on the door side. One time Prabhupada said he had to climb over one dead alcoholic to get in. But they were usually very respectful. There was no light in here. Prabhupada had to go up in the dark to get to the 5th floor where he was staying. And sometimes he'd have to come all the way down to let people in, because he was alone, basically. Although Paul Murray was there, he was only there some of the time. He was very interested. He was helping Prabhupada in many ways in the beginning, but then he became a bit too intoxicated. Next one. And that's Prabhupada sitting there. He looks a bit lonely and withdrawn, and perhaps he was. But it was there. Let's go to the next one. I don't know what we got. We're going to go back. I don't know where I put it. I thought I had it here, but it's not. Okay, well, I'll tell you one thing. The first love feast, and I can't remember where I wrote that, but the first love feast took place, back one more, please, back there. Here, Prabhupada started the first love feast, and I'll find it when the lights come back on, but I can't read it right now. The first love feast was started right here in the Bowery. Prabhupada cooked a 12-course feast for whoever came, and he served it. That was where the first love feast took place. He also started Sanskrit classes there in the Bowery. Every Saturday morning he had Sanskrit classes. And 10, 15, 20 people would come. They give little donations. Some people bring boga, some people this, that, the other. Most helpful person was Carl Jurgens at this point of time. He was a black man who lived in Center Street 5 blocks away, who was giving good donations. He was practically maintaining Prabhupada there, giving him money regularly. He and his wife, Ava. They were basically maintaining Prabhupada's stay there at the Bowery. They were the main donors at that time, because Harvey Covering wasn't there anymore. He'd gone away to the West Coast. So Carl Jurgens was very, very helpful to Prabhupada. He brought him all sorts of gifts. He paid the lawyer fees, everything. So that all started, and he was very interested in Sanskrit. He was very interested in India. And like that. And they had 3 times a week classes. Back one little trip, one spot. Don't go forward quite yet. Back one, bop, 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 bop. Back one, there. So whilst they're there at the Bowery, Paul Murray became a little bit over-intoxicated. Prabhupada decided it's time to leave. Carl Jurgens allowed him to stay in his apartment in Center Street for several days. It's not sure how long, it doesn't say. There's a blank in Prabhupada's diary for a few days, basically. No particular recording, so presumably during that time. However, it was not practical. Carl Jurgens' wife, Ava, was not happy with the Swami staying in their apartment, trying to impose Vaishnav etiquette into their place, with people coming round to see the Swami. This was too much. She didn't mind going to see him, but not people coming to see him in their apartment. That was too much. So he couldn't stay any longer. They had animals, they had meat in the fridge and so on. She wasn't a vegetarian, so on and so forth. So then Mike Grant, Carl went to see Mike with Prabhupada, and Mike Grant found a little place on 2nd Avenue, 26 2nd Avenue here, Matchless Gifts. And there, on July the 1st, Prabhupada moved into Matchless Gifts, or the apartment behind the Matchless Gifts store. At 26 2nd Avenue, they all collected up all the belongings, both from Carl Jurgens' place and from the apartment at 94 Bowery, and they carried them to 26 2nd Avenue, the most famous temple in the universal history, I think, forevermore. Whatever we're doing, TOVP, this one, that one. But nothing can compare with 26 2nd Avenue. This is where it really began. This is where the tree of bhakti really burst above the surface in this, grossly materialistic world. At 26 2nd Avenue. And there, next one, please. Now we're going to get on to what we're supposed to do. As I say, this is just a briefer. The purposes, this is Prabhupada. Let's see. Now we're going back to 1953 in Jhansi, when Prabhupada drew up the League of Devotees. The purpose is there. The purpose of establishing an association like the League of Devotees on the wish of Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa 108 Sri Srimat Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj and Thakur Bhakti Vinod of Navadvip is keenly felt a necessary enterprise on the face of the present world situation, with special reference to the degraded and distressed condition of the human being. Next. Press. So here are a couple of the purposes that Prabhupada drew up then, which are relevant but not necessarily aware of our present situation. So these are a couple of things which were there in the original presentation, which he used as the basis of ISKCON. To undertake civic enterprises which do not come in conflict with the ideals and missions of the League, with all the principles in view. In other words, activities which favor the mission. It might be a hospital, it might be food distribution, it might be a school. It could be anything, as long as it's favorable to the actual mission and not diverting our attention. To open free mail services to advise by post in respect to inquiries made to the League on spiritual subjects. To evoke the quality of goodness, particular sattva gun, in every member of the League individually by the process of spiritual initiation, diksha, by establishing him the status of a qualified Brahmin on the basis of truthfulness, forgiveness, equality, tolerance, education, purity, and knowledge, specific in general, and faith in the transcendental service of Godhead. Next one. So far payment is concerned, it is immaterial. If you are unable to pay the membership fee, still, the League of Devotees will not deny its utmost services unto you, because the League of Devotees is pledged to serve the supreme will of Godhead, and by faith it stands to serve you, at least for bringing you nearer to God. But if you are able to pay, do not try to avoid the membership fee. Every pi, I think it means pice. In Prabhupada's document it says pi. You have to pay an apple pie. Every apple pie paid to the institution, no, pice. Every pice paid to this institution is engaged in transcendental service of Godhead, and it is our duty to engage our life, money, intelligence, and words in the transcendental loving service of Godhead if we want at all to realize God and thereby to make a perfection of this human form of life. I hope you got the message. In conclusion, it may be said that the aims and objects of this institution, League of Devotees, are not man-made ideologies. They are picked up from the original treasure house of India's spiritual culture, attained by the great rishis and acharyas who transcended the conditional stage of existence, and such spiritual experiences recorded in Sanskrit language. As such, it is now necessary, this is interesting, that men of culture all over the world may learn and read Sanskrit language, the mother of all other languages of the Aryan stock. And that's why Prabhupada started Sanskrit classes. The League of Devotees, therefore, will maintain a Sanskrit academy and a degree college especially for the purpose of disseminating the benefit of this great language to all. And there's another picture of Matchless Gifts, and it's there in Matchless Gifts. Pop, there we go. Go forward. Keep going forward, please. On the 6th of July, in a meeting at 26 2nd Avenue, Street Store, it is settled that the society shall be incorporated, and the name of the society shall be International Society for Krishna Consciousness, 6th of July. 11 trustees were agreed. That's when it was signed. It's interesting. 11 trustees, 11 first initiates, 11 first gurus. So many 11s in Prabhupada's line. It's interesting. 11 is a special number. Thursday, 7th of July. Today I saw Mr. Goldsmith, the lawyer, in his office. He has paid $10. I think he, I don't know if he paid or Prabhupada paid. Someone paid somebody. The papers of the meeting were handed over. It is expected that the society shall be registered by the next week. He says everything is all right. Next one. And this is what it was called. This is what Prabhupada gave the lawyer. Constitution of Association. Not the incorporation document, the constitution document. This is the constitution of ISKCON. And these are not mentioned. These are few not mentioned in what we see as the incorporation document. Among these are we call secondary objectives, but they were in the document which Prabhupada submitted. To revive the scientific system of social orders of classification based on intelligence, martial spirit, productivity, and common assistance. That's the Varnashram system, generally known as the four castes, with reference to quality and worth for the common cause of the world society. 2, to discharge as a matter of course the vitiated, that means to get rid of, the vitiated system of supremacy of one man over another by false prestige of birthright or vested interest. In other words, scrap this idea that you're a Brahmin by birth. You're Sudra by birth, Kalo Shudra Sambhava. Everyone born in Kali Yuga is a Sudra unless they become qualified, even if they've got 100 strings around their necks. 3, to popularize the vegetable grain diet under approved methods in order that full value of protein, carbohydrate, fat, and vitamin benefit may be derived therefrom. So those are just a few of the ones, not all of them, a few of the ones which never made it in the final incorporation document. There are some others too. Those ones I thought were interesting. Okay, next one. So an official date when it was finally signed by the legal office was July the 13th, 1966. This is the date the lawyers signed the document And Prabhupada and a few of the trustees signed the document. So this is the official incorporation date. July the 13th. Please correct your calendar at the back there in the prasadam room. You've got several dates wrong. July the 13th, 1966. Next one. And I don't know, we're over time. Way over time. I've got to finish. You all know this. I said it would take an hour and a half. What to do? To systematically propagate spiritual knowledge to society at large. We don't have time to talk about it, I'm afraid. And to educate all peoples in the techniques of spiritual life in order to check the imbalance of values in life and to achieve real unity and peace in the world. Such a wonderful, compact summary of this whole movement. To systematically propagate spiritual knowledge to everyone, to educate people how they could practice spiritual life according to their situation. Not that everyone's on the Brahminical platform. According to their situation, how they can practice the technique to check the imbalance is all material. There's no spiritual purpose in life these days. And that will bring unity and peace. Next one. To propagate a consciousness of Krishna, as the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam explain that consciousness, what it means to be conscious of Krishna. Next one. To bring the members of society together with each other and nearer to Krishna, the prime entity, and thus develop the idea within the members, humanity at large, not Largo, that each soul is part and parcel of the quality of Godhead. We're all his part and parcel. Every single living entity. There's no such thing as this so-called Christian, Hindu, Buddhist, Muslim identity. These are all illusions. They may help us to come to reality, but in of themselves they're illusions. Our real identity is the eternal servant of Krishna as Mami Vangsha Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Next one. To teach and encourage the Sankirtan movement, congregational chanting of the holy name of God as revealed in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's their practical activity, to go out and chant and distribute this holy name every single town and village, everywhere in the world, to spread the holy name. That's the mission. Next one, we should know what our mission is, otherwise how are we going to do it? It's crazy. If you join a movement and say, what's the mission? I don't know. I have no idea. Someone's trying to convince you to join the mission. They don't even know what the mission is. Next one, to erect for the members and society at large a holy place of transcendental pastimes, like here, this temple here, to the personality of Krishna. Next one. Dedicated. Dedicated. To bring the members closer together for the purpose of teaching a simpler and more natural way of life. And the last but not least, last but one. Two more. With a view towards... No, last one. Something's missed out there, isn't it? Do we get E? Do we get them all? F? Yeah, we did. Okay. Next one, with a view, that means the previous one means farms and simple living, high thinking. With a view towards achieving the aforementioned purposes to publish and distribute periodicals, magazines, books, and other writings. Srila Prabhupada, book distribution, Ki Jai. Next one. And that's it. Okay, we haven't got any time. We're not even halfway through. But what to do? Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada, Ki Jai. Yeah. Many things. That's Prabhupada's rooms there. In 2nd Avenue, the top left-hand corner. Yeah. First initiation, September the 8th, 1966. 11 initiates. Michael Grant, and that's Mukunda. Janaki, that's his wife. Hayagriva, you may know he was the first editors. Umapati, still around. Umapati Swami, I don't know if he's living in Mayapur, I think. Ravindra Sroop, that's not our Ravindra Sroop, that's another Ravindra Sroop. Rai Ram, he's long gone. Karlapati, that was Carl Jurgens. Jagannath, don't know who that is, I don't know. Sri Adi, she was the first one to start dancing. After he danced, then Brahmananda and Achutananda stood up. But he was the first one to start dancing in Tompkins Square. Sachavat, I don't know. Jananda was from Canada. So those were the first 11. Srila Prabhupada, Ki Jai. Keep clicking. We're not going to say anything. Just click if you want to know. That's Tompkins Square. 9th of October, first Harinam. And the new this, that, the other. Haribol, Srila Prabhupada, Ki Jai, Gaur Premanande. Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Sorry, we're over time, so we didn't have enough time to even get what we had to do done. That's in Tompkins Square Park. Prabhupada's little tom-tom beating away there. Huh? Prashadam. Okay, quickly run now to the Prashadam. That's the tree in Tompkins Square Park if you haven't been away with it last Sunday. Amazing. And I'll tell you honestly, I was shocked. Amongst all the temples in New York, all of them, including this one, including Tobacco, including 2nd Avenue, 1st Avenue, including Queens, including Brooklyn, only one devotee turned up. One devotee came with us. It's a shock of my life. On the most important event that's ever taken place in the history of this universe, one devotee turned up, practically. Prabhupada said our movement started from when we started Harinam in Tompkins Square Park. He made that statement. Next day, one devotee said, should we do this regularly? Prabhupada said, every week? Prabhupada said, no. You should do it every day, he said. And nobody came. Oh, it was raining. So who cares a hell if it's raining? If Prabhupada said it because it's raining, we would never be here today if Prabhupada hadn't chanted in Tompkins Square Park. None of us would be here today. It's amazing. We go ahead and do all our other things. It's great. But, you know, this is Prabhupada. Without Srila Prabhupada, there is no ISKCON, there is no temple, there is none of us. We're just karmis, groveling for our bread and butter in Maya. That's all. It's so important. Please do go there whenever you get the chance. There were 3 people, we had a group of people, all bods, who Krishna Kripa had invited. If he hadn't been there, he was with us. If he hadn't invited, would never have come either. They wouldn't have known about it. And so fortunately, some different devotees from somewhere, even from London, who happened to be passing through New York, popped in at the same time. And we had maybe 20 or so devotees eventually ended up guests. Only one regular devotee was with us. And we went there, and 3 people were in the park, just like this picture, almost the same. It was raining. And 2 of them started dancing with us. 2 ladies started dancing, the other filmed it. And the one lady said, I met you guys somewhere. I didn't met anybody. She heard about us and was wondering when they'd actually meet the devotees, and they happened to be visiting their sister in East Village, and there we were. She heard the sound, came over, started dancing. The other one was from Los Angeles doing some filming or something. And they said, oh, God, amazing to see you guys here. Krishna's mercy. Amazing experience. Absolutely amazing. Can't, what to say? It's gone now. It's over. If you haven't got it in your heart, what to do? Okay, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. That elm tree, it's not an oak tree, it's an elm tree. It's an elm tree, is now got a nice placard on there, the Hare Krishna tree, and a little sign to the side explaining the history of the tree and why it's so important. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtanam Ki Jai, Mahaprashadam Ki Jai, Go Premanandi.